I'm very impressed with those of you who have been here all day, half day, part of the day. I mean, we'll take you however we can get you, but I can't think of a better way to end the day with a big exclamation point than with this guy. So what's your topic, Dylan?
Today we are doing a lifting leads workshop.
Okay,
So I'm not just gonna be talking at you, we're gonna be working together and, getting some plans done. No, I'll pass this up.
okay.
Thank you.
Good. Okay.
Alrighty, so for those of you joining us via Zoom, I'm just gonna apologize upfront. We really have an interactive class, so if you don't get the most out of today's session, please feel free to reach out to me directly, and I'd be happy to give you some of the information we're gonna be passing out. But I'm gonna start off by passing out a couple calendars here. We're going to jump right in with a dose of reality. And identify how many working days are left in the year, probably fewer than what you expect, say that. Go, next shirt. All right, so what I want you to do in September, October, and November is start off by putting an X on all of the days that you anticipate not working.
Can I have a pen?
Oh, yes. Of course.
I'll get some, you have extra there.
I think we have a couple extra. Two better.
Thank you. Go ahead and digital today.
All right, so we're putting an X on all of the days that we know we are already taking off. So if you don't work, you take, your Sundays off or your Saturdays off. Or your Wednesdays off, put an X on all of those
Oh.
days,
Okay.
right?
On that.
So we just want to see working days clear, right? So if you work Monday through Saturday, and you take Sundays off, put an X over your Sunday. Or if you work Monday through Friday, put an X on your Saturdays and an X on your Sundays. And working days should be counted as days where you are in the office lead generating. Or in your home office lead generating.
So like not units that are, like showing.
Yeah, so like if you're,
Houses or.
right, so if you're doing, like, if you're out on a showing and you're not lead generated, but you're servicing active clients, I would count that as a day off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we are, lead days for lead generation. Keep in mind, there are also holidays like September 4th, for instance, is Labor Day. You may choose to take off Labor Day if you have any vacations planned or any time with your family. I know Hanukkah, Kwanzaa are in that November, December timeframe. So we have Christmas, the 24th and the 25th. Those are on Mondays and Tuesdays. Or the 25th and 26th, for instance. November, Thanksgiving, the day before Thanksgiving, I usually take those days off. When you're done, go ahead and put your pens down so that I know we can move on. All right. So we have a total of 131 days between, not including today, so between tomorrow and the end of the year, 131 days, total days. There are 93 weekdays. Okay, so that doesn't include taking off any holidays, planned vacation, days off. I want you to also cross off maybe 2 or 3 days to account for sick days or unexpected days off that you would need to take. So anywhere on there, just, choose 2 to 3 days and cross those off. Okay, so now I want you to guess how many days you have left. Just give me some numbers. How many working days do you think you have left? 45. 45 working days. Okay, 45 and 12.
Yeah.
45 here too. Wow. Okay. Go buy a Ronald ticket. How many working days do you think you have left?
So jealous of yourself.
Right.
Probably 80.
Okay, 80 working days left.
Like 100 so.
how many working days do you have left? 73?
No, I'm just kidding.
I was gonna say, okay, couple of great vacations in there. Okay, so 45, 80, you know, everywhere in between. Now I want you to cross off December all. Right, cross off December altogether, and then give me the updated number. How many working days do you have? September, October, November. The rest of the days in August, right, so between today and the end of November. I want you to recalculate. And anyone tell me why why we're doing that?
You won't have any closings, if you're doing work in December, you're not gonna close on.
Right, so anything that goes active in December, anything that goes pending in December is likely to close in January. So everything that we take between now and the end of November is available to close in the year 2023. So how many working days do we have over here? Go ahead and total those up.
I ended up around 48.
48, okay, great, so right on the money,
I actually counted this thing.
okay,
I would say 80.
80, okay,
64.
64. 70, okay, 60, okay. So before coming in, did you guys, did that click for you guys, or is this kind of the first time you're making that realization, like, wow, we have maybe, you know, in some cases 90 days, and in most cases closer to 60. 14 days left in the year. It can be kind of jarring, but we're almost, you know, we're not even technically done with Q3 yet, right? So, as we move further into the end of the year, you're gonna wanna keep in mind, how many working days you have left as a way to judge where you are now and where you need to go, and figure out how many days do you actually have left to account for the, you know, X amount of listings that you still need to take, right? So, that is part one. Part one is identifying how many days left in 2023. Two is how many working days left in 2023. Step three then is I want you to write down your current active, pending, and closed deals for the year. So write down the number of active listings and buyers you have, the number of pending deals you have, and then your closed units here today. And if you don't know the exact number, just guesstimate, you know, give me a guesstimate.
What was the second thing you said? You said how many days are left in the year?
So the first thing was how many days are left in the year? We know that's 131. How many working days left in the year? For some of you it's 70, for some it's 80, 48, 63. Then after that, we're going to determine where we are currently in our business, right? So first, we want to see how much time do we still have left to hit our goal for the year. Second thing is, where are we in terms of hitting our goal for the year? So our current active business, pending business, closed business. We also want to know what your annual goal is. So who's willing to share with me their annual goal? I want to encourage the open, honesty, participation. So share with me, what is your annual goal in terms of closed units? So I want to close 50 deals this year. I want to close 100 deals this year. I want to close 20 deals this year. What is that amount? I'm gonna ask you to go first.
Well, I don't do deals, I do money, so 100,000.
Okay, so how many homes do you need to sell in order to earn 100,000? Generally, it's generally easier to say, if I want to earn 100,000, I know I have to generally sell X amount. Versus setting the goal of saying, I want to earn, you know, 100,000 this year, and then you're trying to go out and find that, okay, this $100,000 listing that I need for $500,000, whatever it is. So how many?
Between 10 and
10, 12, okay, so what number do you want to select? 12, okay. How about you, over here? What's your annual goal?
I don't remember what I set my goal for this last year. I was trying to look up, I don't remember what I said.
Okay,
Just don't.
so what do you think what would you choose now?
Probably for this next year,
Or for this year stuff?
if I could go back and what I'd like to see.
No, you could answer now, like basically saying, I'd love to be able to end 2023 with this amount of homes sold.
Well, I love in 2023, 10.
10, okay, so 10. Any others? Who else has a goal? I'd love to hear from everyone. What's your goal?
I
Five, love it. Good. Forward back here, how are you?
I can start back in production of TV, so, so far this year, Christmas got 10. I get 8 more.
Great, great, love it.
I'd love to see Chris get. I'd love to see her get at least some of the next year.
Great, 6 more listeners. How about in the back? We have 2 more. 10 more deals this year, okay?
I would say.
Great, okay. So. Have we all had enough time to kind of write down what we think the active businesses, pending business, closed business this year? We all had some time to guess. Okay. So what I want you to do is consider how many more homes that you want to sell this year. And I want you to look at your actives, your pendings, and sort of consider how many more do you need to add on top of what you currently have active, on top of what you have sold, in order to hit that goal. So if you have a goal of closing 12 more deals this year, and you have 3 active listings and you have 1 pending, then you know you need an additional 8 units between now and the end of the year to hit your goal, right? So considering that we have September, October, November to take the listings that we need in order to hit our goal for the year, you're gonna wanna take that number that you came up with, right? So if you have 12, you have 3 active, 1 pending, you now know you need 8 more. You're gonna take that 8 number and divide it between 90 days, or however many days, however many working days you identified you have left in the year. Okay, so Paula, what we did was, and I'll give you both one of these. Well, so you're gonna look September, October, November, December, and you're going to put an X for the days that you are not working. And identify how many days, how many working days you have left in the year. Working days are defined as days that you intend to actively lead generate for new business. So, what are some of the numbers that we determined? Based off of the amount of working days we have left in the year against the amount of homes that you still want to sell this year, how many homes do you have to close each week in order to close that number by the end of the year? Or each month? Your total days. You know how to do that? Raise your hand if you want me to come by and help you with the math.
It's a tight schedule.
Tight schedule. What are you at?
I looked at, I've got 7 closed for the year.
Great,
I've got 3 active and 2, one of those is pending.
great.
So
So 3 active, 1 pending, and of the homes that you have active and pending, how confident are you that those are gonna close in your time frame?
well, all 3 were partial. So
A
so
little bit longer time frame.
yes, so one of them I know for sure will, the other 2 are, one of them is vacant land.
Okay,
So it's gonna be,
great.
it might be a couple years still.
So you're only looking for maybe 2 more deals then between now and the end of the year to close. That's great. And then we're gonna talk about where, what our plan is to get those extra 2 deals. How about you? How many more deals do you need?
I mean,
Okay, so 5.
Yeah.
Over the course of, you said 80 days.
Yeah.
Okay, so, when you, well, it's got the next for me. Not doing, not hitting that. Take, 80 divided by 5. 16, okay, so every 16 days, we know we need a closing, right? In this case, you might say, every 30 days, I need 2 closings, right? Because you get a deal today, pending, it's gonna take 30 days for it to close. Every 30 days, you need 2 to close.
So mine was 64 days and then I need 8 minutes, so.
Great, love it. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so 8 times 8 is 64, there you go. So pretty much every week, you're gonna wanna get 1 more. That's your goal. Having 30 around our goal is just gonna give us a little bit a stronger of a chance of actually seeing that goal being fulfilled, right? So knowing I need 1 closing every week That's pretty powerful.
One every year.
Every other week, there we go. Oh, Chris,
One every 13 days.
whatever, 13 days. Every 10, vote. Okay, how about you, Paul? Yeah. So we're doing this is a listings workshop, so we're focusing on listings, but, you can look at it. Yeah, so first step is just gonna be determining how many days left. You said you had 90, right? And did you, cross off everything in December? Okay, so I want you to cross off everything in December, deduct that from your total. Does any deals that we, take right between now and November are gonna close in December? Anything you take in December will close at, yeah? Okay, so we have identified how many days are left in the year, how many working days we have left, where we currently are in terms of our orientation to our annual goal by identifying our current actives, pendings, and solds against our annual goal for the year. So now we know we need one new listing every 7 days, or 2 more deals for the year, or 1 deal every 15 days, or 2 deals every 30 days, right? So the next step then is going to be to determine your average commission. And if you don't know your average commission, if the average sales price of this market center is right around 450,000, times that number by 3%, and that will be a good number for you to start with. So what is your average commission? You're gonna take your average commission and times that by the amount of deals you still want to sell this year. That's the paycheck that's waiting for you at the end of the line. So what we're doing is we are taking the amount of deals that we still want to sell this year.
Yeah.
And we're timesing that number, we're multiplying that number by our average commission. So if your average commission is $5,000, you want to sell 2 more deals this year, that means you have $10,000 that's still in the pipeline. $10,000 average commission check, you want to sell 2 deals, $40,000 still in the pipeline. When you have a number, let me know what that is. It's not. 40,000, okay, great. So the question is, if you want to sell 8 more deals left in the year, you're multiplying 8 by your average commission to determine the paycheck that's waiting for you on December 31st. How much we have yet to earn this year. Great, love it. So, Mo, I'm gonna use your number as an example. We're gonna say this is 100% the floor. Now we're gonna work our way back. What is 75%? What is 50%? What is 25%? Okay, take out your calculators and do your goal. Okay, times 75%. Get the number. Then go back, your goal times 50%. Go back, the goal times 25%, determine what those numbers are. The math on this, I don't know where it is, 50,000, but we're going to use 40. Okay. So if at the end of the year, your goal is, I'm gonna sell 4 more homes, but you ultimately only sell 3. Well, you're not earning 40,000 extra, but you're earning 30. You only sell 2, well, I'm gonna earn an extra 20,000. Only sell 1, you have only an extra 10,000. And the converse is true. If you're on pace to hitting your goal already of 4 more homes this year, and you are ready to double down on your activities, double your goal, well, what does 125% look like? 150%, 175%, 200%, right? Calculate what those numbers are for you. Okay, this is the opportunity we have in front of us between now and the end of the year. Are you going to settle for achieving your goal this year? Or are you already on pace to achieving that goal? And are you in a position to increase that goal? Could you double that goal between now and the end of the year? If you only have 63 working days left between now and December 31st, what would it look like for your family if you went from $40,000 to $80,000? All you had to do was give you 200% for the next 63 days. Could you do that, Mo? Okay, so all I need is 420% for the next 63 days, Mo. What could that extra $40,000 do for your family this holiday season, right? What could that mean, for your family this holiday season? Think about those things. And by the way, this is a great goal. That's a big goal. That's a great goal. And that's good. Maybe right now in your life, we're prioritizing work-life balance and achieving these high goals and still having time for our family, and that's great. And that's great. If, on the other hand, you have a little bit more runway, consider increasing that goal. Or maybe you're on the other side of the coin, right? Maybe we are already at our capacity. We have a lot of different things going on right now, and we need to reduce our goal. Let me be the first to tell you, it's okay to adjust that annual goal. If you're in a position where, you can't make that happen, do that for yourself. Allow yourself to go from this to this. If you're already at your capacity, right? So determine what is that goal. And then once you determine what that number is, I want you to share it with me. I want to share this with us our goal, $40,000 between now and the end of the year. So in how many days?
90 days by transaction, 18, every 18 days.
Great. So in 90 days, you're gonna earn $40,000.
Yeah.
Okay, what's your goal?
66,400.
Love it. In
64.
64 days. Paula, how about you? What's your goal? That's okay. Keep working on it.
I've got to take a call.
No problem. Chris, what's your goal?
I haven't got to it either.
Okay, what's your goal?
54,000.
In how many days? 60 days.
Mine's got more of a realistic goal. I'm trying to do 25.
Okay, okay. In 48 days. That's right, 48 days.
For the big business.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. So we're factoring in the amount of days that you have, your average commission. What are you gonna earn in that amount of days? Okay, do the math. We're here for you. Okay, so great goals, right? So the next step then is identifying, are you in a position to adjust the goal, or are you going to stick with the goal that you have for yourself, right? Now you know what the goal is, how much time you have to hit that goal, and how much you're ultimately going to earn at the end of the race, right? So am I sticking with my goal? Do I have to reduce my goal, or am I going to increase my goal at all? Okay, once you've determined that much, once you determine those metrics, the conversation is how committed am I to the goal, right? Am I committed to the 66,000? And in order to really determine your level of commitment, you have to start to think about how you're going to spend that money, right? So the next step in this process is I want you to write out specifically, how are you spending the 40,000? How are you spending the 25,000? How are you spending the 66,000 and some change? How are you spending that? And I want to know, $10,000 is going to my dream vacation in Hawaii. $50,000 is going to paying off my student loan debt. $5,000 is going to, Texas, right?
And so they just forgave us.
Yeah, right, there you go, there you go. So we get an extra 50,000 towards that vacation, perfect. So how are you spending that money? I wanna know, I wanna see an accounting for all of them. Wanna walk around? Okay. The goal right now is to get clarity around why you're about to work as hard as you're about to work. Right? Why am I doing what I'm doing? You know, is what I'm doing, is what I'm about to commit to, is the work I'm about to do, I'm about to set out to accomplish, is it worth the money, right? How committed are you to that goal? And if you have something fun that you're gonna spend the money on, or you have something that you'd like to share, go ahead and share it with us. With something fun that they're going to be purchasing with them.
Going to Mexico.
Going to Mexico, where would you go?
Mexico City.
Where do you take it?
My foreign exchange student to Spain and my daughter.
Is your foreign exchange student named Dylan? Dylan,
Or not.
I'm enrolling. Okay, that sounds very, like a lot of fun. What else? Well, you had fun.
It's not fun, but it's necessary.
Great.
New windows.
New windows. Love it.
Amazing.
Love it. We're getting some new Anderson top line windows.
Nobody wants to. No, I have apparently an excessive amount of windows that I have. So
Love that.
it's nice.
Good. What are you spending it on?
15,000 in the savings. 7,500 towards HT, garden remodels,
Cool.
2,500 applications.
Love it. Where are you going on vacation?
We have got multiple places to go on our list, so.
Okay.
Mexico's in there, doing multi-coast.
What
There you go. That really, right there.
Yeah, that's just towards the fun.
That's good.
not-
That's good. I like it.
That's not case back.
I love it. I love it. All right. How about you back here?
Oh, wait, let's put some money on, I've got a link chat and I have my hand.
Very nice.
Set aside $10,000.
How about you?
Personal business expenses, 40K. Payouts and debt, 20K. That's the training. 5K. Savings, 5K, and.
Very good. And Mo?
I'm gonna put up 20, this is the savings. I'd like to pay my daughter's tuition off for the year, and I want to pay our new,
That's awesome. Great. Okay, so, that was the fun part. Now we get to get into, this is actually pretty exciting. There's a lot of information here, so don't feel overwhelmed by it, but this is a treasure trove of literally all of the listing lead sources you could ever think of. There's a description. Hold on there. Yes, here we go. So, the source, what the source does, basically how you get the lead, the type of lead, the fee, if there is any, if there's a referral percentage at closing, the time that they own it, and any notes. So this is like, regardless of the life, the info. Pretty much any resource you've ever heard of or think of that's in here.
Oh,
Of course.
this includes all the social media crap and
Oh, yeah.
all the emails I always get.
There's a lot of stuff in there.
All right.
Yeah. If it's not in there, let me know and I'm gonna add it to it. So next, this is really secondary to our next step. The next step is identifying your top lead sources, right? The recommendation is always first identify where your current business is coming from. How have you won so far this year? How did you win last year? How did you win the best year in the business for you? What were those top lead sources? So I want you to write on the first page there, before you start really getting into those notes, right on the first page at the top, what are your personal top 3 lead sources? 1, 2, 3. What are your top lead sources? Some people it's gonna be sphere of influence and sphere of influence referrals as one source. One might be past clients and past client referrals as one source. One might be friends and family, if you separate that from sphere of influence. One might be expired listings, one might be for sale by owner listings. One could be Zillow, one could be social media, right? What are those top 3 lead sources? Write those down. Once you have those on paper, I want you to consider before adding in a new lead source, what could you do to double down on each of those top 3 lead sources? Right, so really you can double down on those in one of 3 ways. Time, resources, and effort. Those are really the only 3. If you could think of a fourth one, let me know. Those are the three most common ones: time, resources, effort. Right? If your top lead source is past clients and past client referrals, could you spend an extra hour every day for the next 63 days and basically organize them from A to Z and spend 1 hour trying to contact each of those groups of people? Could you hire a ISA to make calls down your roster for you? Could you so time, money, effort? Could you intend to be more focused and more prepared for your calls in the morning and prepare at night for your calls, right? So time, resources, effort. How could you double down on each of those 3 lead sources? Once you've gone through all of those 3 lead sources and identified the way that you can double down on them, now we get to go through this whole lead sheet and start reading all of the fancy online lead sources, all of the different people, places, tools, systems that you can hire to add in more leads. But if we have 90 days and we only need 5 more closings, do you think you could find 5 more closings in that with 10 to 12 pages of different listing lead sources? Probably. Right? So why don't you guys look through it and share some comments about what you see in there, if you find one lead source really intriguing, or if you have any ahas based off of what we went over today. But essentially, this activity was to, number 1, identify, get real, right, with one another and identify how much time we have left this year. Number 1. Number 2, how far we have left to go. Number 3, what we're working for, right? What we can do with that money. If we're still committed to the goal, or if we want to increase or decrease that goal. And then finally identify what are the activities I have to commit to in terms of either doubling down on my top 3 lead sources or adding in a new lead source to realize that $25,000, realize that $66,000, realize that $40,000. What are your ahas? Or any comments or questions?
Building our sphere, right? We've just had a Black municipal first sphere, and then the new generation sphere, middle learning next sphere. I know it's not exhausting, but it's been such only a few months that I like contact people like, what is etiquette?
Yeah,
You know?
yep, that's a great question, and with this time that we have now, like, this is an open forum, we can all chime in, if you have a great idea for Mo, feel free to jump in. I really view this as more of a mastermind. What I would say to that is, for my sphere of influence personally, they have a touch plan, a marketing touch plan in place each year. And I do at least 4 events once event every quarter. And so every month they're getting a call from me, right? So they just already anticipate Dylan's gonna be calling me once a month, every month. And when I call them, I'm always providing something of value. So it's never the expectation that it's Monday, it's January 1st, Dylan's calling me and he's gonna ask me for something. It's usually they're anticipating that I'm calling them, either giving them an update, I'm checking in on a personal level, or I am inviting them to a event that we're gonna be hosting, next month. Yeah, so know that you can contact those that you would consider in your sphere of influence. So for me, I have, my database is separated a little bit differently. So I have I have three databases, my sphere of influence. These are the people that know me the most, like me the most, trust me the most, would refer me their grandma, right? I have my exchange database, which is everyone who I have had some type of meaningful exchange with. So I was in the line at Starbucks, I met a lady who, she asked me about my name tag. Or she asked me about the soccer jersey I was wearing, and we just hit it off, had a, good conversation. Or I went to a networking event last night and I met someone for the first time and we bonded over our love for cows, right? Whatever it is. If they've had any sort of meaningful exchange, they're in my exchange database, but that means that they haven't then earned a spot in my sphere of influence as being one of the people who knows me the most, likes me the most, trusts me the most, or would refer me business. And then finally, my third database is social media. So this is everyone else who I have, surface level, conversations with over social media, and we haven't ever met in person. Like the agent partners that I have out in North Carolina, or the lady that you met in the, wine group, whatever it is, right? So sphere of influence, exchange, social media, I view those all as my three databases.
And so with those three databases, you have different plans set up.
Yes.
Database.
Great question. So everyone in my sphere of influence, they're getting the one call a month from me. And sometimes there's a reason why I call them an extra time in a month. They know that they're for sure getting a call from me once a month, but every once in a while, there's a reason why I call them an extra time. And that is, I, go by a park in your area and I think of Mo, right? So it's like a thoughtful call. In my exchange database, it's once a quarter. They just get the call to be invited to the event. And then social media, I don't really call people on social media unless there's a specific reason for me to call them. On social media, I have the 5-by-5 method. A lot of you have probably heard of that. But in a nutshell, it's 5 comments on 5 new people's posts every day. It's 5 direct messages and 5 direct messages, 5 comments, and 5 engagements with 5 new people every day. So that's it on social media.
How many do you have in your SMR?
Sphere of influence, I probably have like between 400 and 500.
And is that the one where you said you call them once a month?
What's up?
All of them?
Yeah, what's up?
How do you?
You
How are you
time block it,
able-
you time block it. If you do 20 calls, if you do 20 calls a day, 20 contacts a day, I can get 100 done in 1 week. So, if I am doing 25 a day, then I can get 150 done in 1 week.
So, but as your sphere continuously grows, like, how are you going to be able, like, how do you maintain that? Cause like, let's say you got to like 1,000, how are you supposed to?
I'm a little bit different than most people. I generally would recommend 100 to 250 in like your top database. I'm a talker.
Same.
I'm a
Well,
talker.
I'm like, I can talk, but I don't know that I can dedicate like.
It is not a long conversation. It is, I pretend that I'm in my car. I pretend that I'm in my car. I call them, hey, I'm on my way to a listing appointment and I just thought of you. I wanted to ask, I wanted to make sure that you were, doing well. How's everything going? I have about 5 minutes before I get to my destination. I figured I'd just give you a call to see how are you? And that's it. If I have an item of value, like I have a market update, I would say, hey, I'm in my car heading to my next listing appointment. I'm actually calling all of my top supporters and I wanted to just give you an update that, this last month we had, 50 homes sell, we're seeing days on market increase. So those homes are staying on the market for, an extra 10 days. So on average, 30 days now, whatever it is, you just keep it short. But I tell them I'm in the car heading to my next listing appointment. Hint, hint, I'm a realtor.
Yeah.
And I'm busy. I had 5 minutes so that they know that they're, the conversation is not gonna go longer than that. And if it does go longer than that, I can always say, hey, I'm so sorry, I just got to my destination. I'd love to give you a call back because we're having a great conversation. I'm gonna give you a call back this day and this time.
Okay.
So I'm in the car headed to my next listening appointment. I had 5 minutes and I just was thinking of you, so I wanted to call and check in. That's like my script. That's my go-to script. But if I'm calling because I have a market update or something like that, it's similar, but then I just say, hey, and while I have you, I wanted to give you a quick market update. Or, hey, and while I have you on the phone, I wanted to make sure you saw my email or my direct mailer that I sent out to you for an invitation to come to our photos with Santa, whatever it is. And I keep that value add really short and sweet, but really I see the value add calling them and asking them about them. And it usually, my question is, how is work going for you? Because they're gonna answer that question, and then the natural response is ask how work is going for me. It sounds totally self-serving, which it is, but it's a business call, and my personal calls are those calls that I make when they get a second call from me that month.
Gotcha.
When we truly have some sort of like personal reason to connect, they're gonna get a second call from me. Do you have a question?
Well, the thing is too, is that once you get that script going, the conversation, then it's always the same,
Right.
right? And so you get into it and you're so good at just shutting it down because this, that then it makes it so much easier to make those calls. Cause I know it can seem like daunting, like, oh my God, but when you say, okay, each month I'm gonna cover this,
Yeah.
then you're an expert.
Well, and the other thing is like, usually I'm actually in the car when I have those calls too. Because, so I used to listen to music in the car, but, I'm either making calls or I am on a podcast. I like to listen to podcasts. On my way to work, I am calling people for business, or I am listening to a podcast business. On my way home from work, I'm calling my friends, I'm calling my family, or I'm listening to a book for pleasure.
When you give the remark, so like past clients, right? Do they really want you to call them in the market update, or you?
Yeah, I mean, people that you have worked with, they want to hear from you, right? And Mo, I know you, when you work with someone, they become your friend, they become your family. So if they haven't heard from you, in 30 days, I'm sure that they would appreciate just to check in. Hey, even if it's not the market update, hey, how's the home going? Or hey, how is, I saw on Facebook, Jennifer was, graduating high school now. Oh my gosh, it's so crazy. I feel like just 5 years ago, I sold you this home. You probably, you probably feel better that you have more space now. You might need to downsize. Right.
I think that is.
So that's another thing too. I add my clients on Facebook. Not everyone does that. I add my clients on Facebook because it's a way for me to get intel on them if I feel like I don't have a reason to call them. I can go to their Facebook, oh wow, they just were at the cabin out in Montana, call them, talk to them about that. Or that you see some sort of milestone happen, you can call them, talk to them about that. So to answer your question, Mo, I think that's, it's probably different for everyone, but what I would say is at a minimum, don't feel like one call a month is too much. Yeah. Yep.
So I've been talking about doing my database for like everybody has for years. And one year I was completing this habits. And I wrote down everybody that I had sold house to that old without. I had actually lost more business that year. I lost $7.5 million for business. Which I think is a good motivator for you members. And my people are like families, trust me. But I decided I was gonna double down on my spirit, and I brought it from 1,200 to 1,000. And I figured out a free way to find out not only their home anniversary, their birthday, I have all the kids' names, I know how old the kids are.
Right.
I know the kids' birthdays, I know their spouses or significant others' name, I know their birthday. And I figured out a way to internet stock how to do it all.
Yep.
And I was able to totally scrub my entire database down to every single person in there. I know all that stuff, like, my mom was just like, shut up, you're down, I'm like, yeah, I was in your husband's name, such and such, it's just like, oh my God, how do you know that? I said, I'm not telling you, but I did know it for free. So it's worth it, and then you figure that you're not just calling them once a month to whatever, it's their birthday, it's their home anniversary, it's their wedding anniversary, because their kids just had a birthday, aren't they starting school? So it isn't like you're just calling them to stalk them, but I stalked them so that I could, I felt like it wasn't genuine, as much as it's kind of weird to say I was internet stalking them. They didn't feel like it was genuine to say, so what's your kid's name? He's good God, or practically family at the closing, right? But then do you expect me to remember the names of 1,000 people in your database? No.
Yeah.
So I was internet stalking because I wanted to be able to be genuine when I talk to them and say, how are your kids doing? I can't believe how old they are because blah, 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 when we looked at houses, they were four,
Right.
whatever it was.
Yep.
So that was my purpose of the internet stock, but I found out all these cool tricks about how I could figure all this stuff out for free and then put it into my phone and all my contacts and,
I love that.
so.
How do you, is that something is it proprietary, I mean, it's just different avenues you, I'm assuming you don't go to
I just-
Facebook and.
It's-
I did some stuff on Facebook, there's tricks that you can go on Facebook to find out information.
Yeah.
Because what I figured out is all couples, one has a blab.
And
There's one blabber.
Yeah, they usually are.
So you, like, let's say, because a lot of agents don't say something about themselves. But if I can figure out who your husband was, or their significant other, which I would find on tax records.
Yeah, so,
And I would go and look up that person on Facebook, that person would be a blabber. And then I could do a search on their page, and it would come up with anniversaries, birthdays, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
all
You mean
this
like you
stuff.
would scroll through all their posts?
No. not
There's a lot that you
everybody.
can do.
There's a way you can search it for free.
yeah,
And you
Just type
put
in
in
birthday.
birthday.
yeah, there's a lot that you can do. The search feature in Facebook is really helpful. Yeah,
Okay.
you can search for those things. A couple other things that I'll say as you reminded me, audit your databases. I do mine at least once a year. I do mine around the holidays. So I do, it's called database days. I learned this from a team that I was on in Michigan, and every holidays, you're just calling your sphere of influence to thank them for their trust in you, in allowing you to helping you grow your business, and for placing their trust in you to take care of all of their friends and family referrals, right? So you're calling them for that. And then when you have the conversation with them, you say, hey, I'll be sending out my holiday cards, and I just wanted to make sure I have all of the most accurate and up-to-date contact information for you. Is this still the best number for you? Is this still the best email address? Is this still your physical address? And really that question is, did you buy with someone else, or did you sell with someone else, right? Since we last spoke. So audit your database at least once a year. And then the other thing that you reminded me of is you're in your sphere of influence, or in your top database. My sphere of influence, by the way, that number I gave you doesn't include like past clients or any active clients, but it would include all of my like friends, family members, past colleagues, whatever, the people who I try and stay in the most contact with. That number, whoever's in that sphere of influence and past clients database, your main database, that should be about 10% of available audience to convert every year for deals. So if you have 1,000 people in that database, you have 100 deals waiting for you each year as available audience to convert. If you have 500, you have 50. If you have 250, you have 25. Right? So keep that in mind. If you are not yet closing that amount of homes, and let's say you are you close 30 homes this year, but you have 500 people in your database. Well, that means you should be able to close about 50 deals per year if you just work your database at the highest level. So what that tells you is that you still have about 20 deals you can get in there. It's just a matter of putting in place a proactive, consistent marketing plan.
Was there a class now for that?
I would be happy. Yeah, I'd be happy to teach a class on developing like a marketing plan for your sphere.
No, just putting a spear in and how to maneuver them around.
Yep, super
We're
easy.
in a spreadsheet right now.
So the beauty is Drew
Oh my goodness.
can meet with you one-on-one and literally help you do all of that, or I will help you do that too,
Well, I feel like Excel, you could just easily.
It's a drag and drop and we can do tags and everything.
So make it so much, there's a lot of automatic.
Questions?
Yeah, I think, like when we're talking about like updating database and things like that, the important thing to remember is that look at how much money you make in an hour or what you need to make versus what it takes the time to do this. And remembering that, yes, it will help you, right? And if I have to get $66,400, I can't take a week to update my database. I need to do lead gen first for the first 3 hours and then I can do that. Because I think a lot of times realtors are like, oh my gosh, I gotta get this database ready. And then they spend like all their time on it and it's like, well, so now did you do your lead gen? No, because I'm cleaning up the database. And then after that, then I can do the lead gen, right? But you're just missing time every single day.
So great point. And actually, what the statistics show on exactly what you just said is that until you have your database in, I'll say command, but really in any CRM, and you are actively marketing to them, you are between 1 and 3 years behind the person who already has their spirit totally in their database and already has them on a marketing plan to achieving that 10% goal. So again, if you have, 500 people in your database and you want all 50 of those fields, the person who has it enacted today is a year to 3 years ahead of you at achieving the maximum potential of the available audience in that database than the person who doesn't have it in there. So if you don't have it in there, time block it, do your lead gen first, your 2 to 3 hours, 2 to 4 hours, whatever it is. And then, make sure you just time block it. So I'm gonna put 25 people in command today. I'm gonna put 50 people in command today. And for those of you who have really big goals that you're still working to hit today, the lead sources that I gave you, some of those are gonna be instant lead opportunities. Some of those are gonna be 90 days, 6 months, a year, right? So make sure that when you look at that, you audit, what is the time frame of those lead opportunities? I can tell you this, the fastest, and you probably are gonna all pew, because you've heard me say this 1,000 times, the fastest lead sources that you can go after, and you can prove me wrong, I'll give you $1,000, expires and for sale hours. Right? They've already raised their hand saying, I have a home to sell, and I'm willing to pay a realtor commission, expires.
So how do you, real quickly, I mean, I've never, I've gone through, MLS a handful of times, just to kind of peruse that, because I'm so busy with management, but how do you go through and target expired and target FSBOs?
Yep.
Is there FSBO? I mean, how do you find that?
Great question. So I can give you 2 free tactics, and then I can give you 2 options that are paid for. For FSBOs, you can go to Zillow and you can do a search for sale by owners in any particular area or any particular price point. And any for sale by owners that are out there, when you click on that link, they're gonna have the seller's contact information on it, right? Because consumers have to be able to reach out to them to sell it. So that's the free way to get FSBOs. Expires, you can do a search on the MLS to identify what homes went expired, and then you can try and do your own sleuthing, right? Go to the tax records and find their address. If you want to go, door knock or send them a mailer, it's going to be harder to find their email address and phone number. You can always look up their name on social media, like LinkedIn is often one where they have their phone number or they have your email address. The second option, that's the free options. The paid for option is going to be RedX or Vulcan 7. They both are the best in terms of the data that they provide. You will find no better company out there that will provide you accurate contact information than RedX and Vulcan 7. Vulcan, VULCAN 7, the number 7. That is the most expensive of the 2. They both run the same data, but that one's much more expensive. The reason why that one is more expensive because that has the best dialer out there. It beats Mojo, it beats Vortex, it beats all of the Boomtown dialer, it beats everyone's dialer. Vulcan 7 is the best dialer. RedX then is cheaper, like less than a third of the cost of Vulcan 7. Red X, if you wanna hand dial, right? If you're willing to hand dial like me, go to Red X. If you really want a dialer, because you can batch 100 calls, click play, and it just automatically dials for you, which is great. Go to Vulcan 7.
When you say a dialer, this is like robocall, right?
Yes, so Vulcan 7 is a single line dialer. There are some other companies out there that are multi-line dialers, and those, are risky, so maybe you choose to stay away from those.
Okay.
But Vulcan 7 is a single line dialer. And Red X you hand dial. And I think Red X for both expires and FSBOs, it's like $99 a month. If you just want expires, I think it's like $49, $59, maybe.
I think it's 59.
Yeah, about $59 a month. I really like Red X myself, but if you want a dialer, then I would recommend Vulcan 7.
So you physically create a recording with Vulcan 7 and then they call with your recording?
So, great question. That's follow the TCPA rules. That's what I have to say. I can tell you what I have to say and what I do. Do as I say, not as I do. Vulcan 7, I think that it is illegal to send a pre-recorded voicemail. People do it, but I think you could get in trouble for it. Vulcan 7 still allows you to do that. You can click a button and they will send a pre-recorded voicemail for you. I don't leave voicemails and I don't recommend to leave voicemails at all, not because it's illegal or legal, just because it's a waste of time. You want to be in front of your desk, you want to have the property information or address right in front of you when you talk to them, because here's what's gonna happen otherwise. You're gonna call 100 people, you're gonna call 200 people, and you're gonna get a call back on the person that you left the voicemail for. And they're gonna say, hey, I just got a call from you earlier today. And you're saying, who is this? Or what home did I call on? I called several homes today,
Yeah.
right? And they're gonna immediately know this is not a buyer. This is likely an agent or, some sort of solicitor. Instead, if you call them, you don't leave a voicemail and they call you back. Now you have a notification on your phone. Okay, tomorrow morning when I'm in the office or later that night, when I get home and I'm in front of my computer, I'm gonna call this number and pull up their address before I call them.
Okay.
Yep. Great questions.
Okay, so I have a question that may take a long time to answer, so you don't have to answer it completely. So if I need to make $66,400, how many people do I need to reach out to every day in order to hit that?
Okay, so what is your conversion from lead to contact?
I don't know.
Okay, what is your conversion from lead to one consent?
You don't know.
Right, so without that information, we can estimate from lead to for an online lead, we can estimate about 10%. It's gonna convert from lead to appointment consent. So I'm gonna call for every 10 people I call, I'm gonna set one appointment.
Okay.
Right, so 10 leads, one appointment. Every appointment from set to, let's skip gone on, right?
Yeah.
There's a step from set to gone on. Let's say you're gonna go on the appointment that you set. When you go on that appointment, what's your percentage of converting at the table? Are you converting probably 2 or 3? Or 3, okay, so for safety's sake, let's say 2 or 3, right?
Yeah.
So we went from, appointment set was 10%.
Yeah.
To, gone to, I'm at the table, I'm converting, I'm being 66%, right? All right, those are good numbers. So, once you take the listing out of, 10 listings, how many are you selling? You take 10, you sell 8, okay, so 10%, 66%, 8 out of 10, okay? 8 out of 10 go pending.
Yeah.
How many close?
7.
7, really close? More close than you think.
Well, yeah, well,
So we'll say 7 for safety's sake, right?
Yeah.
So 7, okay. So, your average commission then is
9.
9, okay. we're gonna do some math here, so bear with me.
I mean, it was technically like 8,600.
Okay. So, you said, 8600, is average commission?
Yeah.
Okay, so if we had, if our goal is 66, let's say 67,000, okay?
Yeah.
Divided by 8,600. That is, you need 8 deals, right?
Yep.
So you need to have 8 closings. Eight, not 8. Okay. So, 8 closings, what we're gonna do is we are going to divide that by 70%. That means we need, it says 11.4, so we're gonna round down to 11. Actually, we're gonna round up just for, I'll give you a little extra. Okay, now that number, we're going to divide by 66%. Okay. 17, and then that number, we're going to divide by 10%. Okay, so you need 173 solid leads.
Yep.
I have a home to sell. I'm willing to pay a realtor commission. You need 173 of those leads to set 17 appointments to close, to pen 12 deals.
Yeah.
To close 8
Yeah.
listings.
And the 173. How many do I need to talk to get that? Is that, do you know what that is?
Yes, so if you need, okay, so this is, what we did here was, contact to appointment set,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So beyond this, it is small, you know, this is gonna be like 2 to 3%, maybe less in some cases,
Yeah.
right? It really should be unique for each person,
Right.
but we can estimate 2 to 3%. So let's say 2.5%. Okay, so 173. And then we're gonna divide that by 2.5%. That is, now hold on,
I know, it's pretty big.
6,900. Okay. That's, you know, take that one with a grain of salt.
Yeah,
This one, I think you really have to take with a grain of salt. The goal here is, you have to contact, what you wanna focus on is, I wanna contact 173 leads, good quality leads, and I would consider a good quality lead to be an expired or FSBO, right in the systems, okay? Or a good quality lead might be a Zillow lead, right? That's probably the F word in here, but that's just the reality. These people are, serious, right? They're not contacting you as local leads, they're actually online actively looking for homes to buy or sell, okay? So I would consider that a good lead. I would consider,
well, like sphere of influence is so much higher than the 2.5.
so this number here, this is gonna be like your Facebook ad leads.
Right.
Right?
Right.
You're gonna run one ad and you're gonna get, 2,000 leads, something like that, okay? Focus on finding this number
Yeah.
versus focus on finding
Yeah.
this.
So, I know what you're saying, and you thought of doing the database updating would take too much time away from the lead time. But if you factor that, if you have 500 people in your database, you can choose to work that database. Gary Keller says, for every 12 people that you know in that database that you already know, 3 deals are gonna happen. Maybe with them, maybe with somebody else. So for me, I would not spend my time trying to dial up 7,000 people. When I could work 500 people in that database, and out of 500 people, 80 people we're dealing with are gonna happen in that database. So to me, it would make more sense to say, worthwhile to spend my weekend updating and calling my database during my lead gen time. The other thing is, it's like my purpose of updating mine was that when I put it into command, there's all these automated 36 touch systems that have already been figured out by somebody else. It has top reviews, and you can just click it, add it to your list. So a lot of that is automated. So to me, like time wise, what made sense was for me to scrub my database. Because because I'm not saying that I wouldn't call expiring as a business. I'm just saying, these people know me, love me, like me, and they want to hand me one of those.
You're
And
not-
it's
you're not
amazing,
wrong.
like,
You're not
I've
wrong.
done some minimal things, I haven't done my full, 36 touches, but even just sending out a couple of birthday cards, I'm getting these, just a few phone calls, and I'm amazed at how much. And if anything, I'm technically kind of scared to actually do the full 36, because of the fact that if I have 1,000 people for my database, that's 165 deals. I can't do 165.
And you don't have to, but you can refer those out and still get paid for those, right? So be
it's-
fearful of that,
so that's
and you're
kind of
making
my-
good comments, yeah,
Yeah.
you make really great comments. You know, the thing that I would say there is, your database, these are people who know you, like you, and trust you, and they're not people who have raised their hand saying they have a home to sell, because if they had, you would have already sold it, right?
Well, no, not necessarily, because it's about being top of mind. If I lost $7.5 million for the deals one year from people that I sold them their house. I
Right,
killed
but we're
myself
talking,
on- So it was about, for me, it was about, you know what, it's 100% on me, it's my fault. Because if I had stayed top of mind and connected with them, they would use me again. They loved me when they bought their house. And then they turned around, one person, like, their sale of their home and their purchase was like $1.4 million. But I hadn't stayed connected with them, but they loved me, very first house they ever bought.
so a couple challenges with that, and a couple challenges and a couple, successes. You know, I would say the first challenge with that is you have to have a database in order for that to work, right?
Right.
Expires and business, you can pick it up and go after it tomorrow. In addition to that, you're spending a lot more time on your sphere of influence, calls, developing that relationship and staying top of mind than I am going after a physical or expiring, making one call and setting an appointment, right?
Right.
So if we're looking at it as time on, you know, if we have a limited time, right? We have 48 days, we have, 80 days. We have to, that is a great strategy. I'm very much so of the mindset of you need a hybrid approach. Absolutely do sphere of influence, absolutely build the marketing system for the year and set your plans on it. The 36 touch in command, big fan of, only if you're also doing the proactive approach, right? I'm not a big fan of set it and forget it. That's great as an addition on top of the proactive approach, which you're doing, which is awesome. So do that, do sphere of influence, and if you need money tomorrow or yesterday, you have to call the sources who have already raised their hand and said, I have a home to sell and I'm willing to pay you. So, yeah, go after your sphere of influence before you go after the, online leads at this time, right, for sure.
So I have a question. I have a lender that is willing to do the generation for me,
Okay,
right? And does that make sense?
yes, yeah, they do that.
So she's like, just send me your database and we'll call them all. And I'm like, you're really gonna call all my people? They're like, yeah, and we'll, market to them and all this stuff. But are they gonna take a lead from me? So I think, I don't know. What, do I share all my people with you? I don't know what to do, but I trust her. She's a, good lender. I work with her. She's in my EI and government affairs and stuff. So I'm like, I like her a lot, but I just, this is my first time I'm calling her the lender and telling me to give them all my stuff.
Yeah,
So,
so my first thought is, you said you trusted the lender, which is great, from a personal level. Have you done a deal with this lender before? Okay,
But only because the lenders that I work with are, true over, but I know that she has a lot of the tools for me. I just haven't had the opportunity and right now, I just don't have any shop.
Yep.
So, I just haven't been able to send her anybody, but I can plan on it, but I like her a lot, and she really is very knowledgeable. She's been doing it for years. She's got a team, blah, blah, blah.
so, short answer is your database is your business. So I, tend to be super protective of the database. If someone wants it, they're gonna pay for it, like eventually when I retire, I'm gonna sell my database to another agent,
She charged me $35 to do all of my leasing with all of my speed.
So. So there are a couple things. This first, have you done a deal with her, right? If you haven't done a deal with her, I would first do a couple deals with her to make sure that you really know she does a great job. Because until I introduce someone to my database, I have to be absolutely certain they know what they're doing and they're gonna take great care of them in their profession. Next, I would say that, I was going with, I already lost it.
It's like really, I know, of course, right, they're gonna, advertise their mortgage stuff, but it's like, if I
Oh,
don't
this is
use
what-
them as a lender, if it's, you know, they cost me when I end up not using them as a lender, it just seems weird to me. I'm trying to
Yeah.
You
wrap
could
my
sit
brain
with
around.
her and say, let's do this, right? And then you sit together for 2 hours and she gets 10 names and you see what she does. And then it's like,
Yeah, so the first thing that I would do if someone approached me and said, hey, Dylan, you know, I love that. Someone who's proactive, someone who's aggressive that way, hungry for the business, I'm all for that. I would reward that and I would say, okay, here are some people from my database, give it a try. And the people that I would give them would be the people who have expressed a want to get into a home purchase, but maybe have had to work on their credit, or maybe they have to, they have other conditions that they need help on. I would say, okay, lender, let's, show me that you're willing to work to earn all the other people in my database. That's what I would
So
do.
not necessarily send my past clients, or anything, just give them some people, new people that, of course, I got tons of those that are first time home buyers, they're not ready, but I can send them.
Yeah, some people, and don't give them a lot, just give them a couple, because that's actually, and if you guys own teams or you have, agents. On your team and, you've given them leads, you will notice that, there's actually, you can have death by too many leads. An agent will, there's a point to which, the agent will actually start to show a decrease in productivity by giving them too many leads. Same thing goes for lenders or really anyone else that is prospecting. So I would give them, maybe three leads and see how they do with the 3 leads. If one of them turns into a deal, right? 33% conversion, then I would give them, then I would move it up from 3 to 6, and then just kind of incrementally build them into your database. Yeah, let's start with people who are already gonna be harder.
Yeah, I think it's critical that you really need to know your lender, make sure that
Yeah.
they're there for you, when you call on a Friday or the
That's
end.
it.
All that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
More slow now than ever, and you need a lender that's really working out. So if you do that, get a good relationship with them, then you know that. Because some of the people that are, aren't here serious.
Thank you.
Of course. Any other questions?
Yeah, you mentioned Zillow and obviously. Now the Zillow is kind of taking over the market. I don't use.
Oh, no, they aren't.
But. Don't they harvest your information as far as if you've got. If you put listings on there, I mean, I've heard that they were kind of reverse. Prospecting and taking the information and trying to go after that seller.
I'd have to hear more information about what you're saying.
Yeah, I have.
So are you saying like they're using your listing to market that listing?
I'm trying to remember what I read something about where. If you put a listing on there, that they'll actually go after that listing. As it's getting close to the final seller, they'll actually try to go take it.
Oh, yeah, so they're gonna go after expireds.
Yes.
Right, that's what you're saying. So, yeah, I mean, that's, I would be surprised if they weren't already going after expireds or for sale by owners. And that just shows you, a big company like that, they see the value in going after expireds and FSBOs. So if they are, why aren't we all?
So is it disadvantageous for us to use Zillow? I mean, everybody talks about, I looked on Zillow, his estimate was this, and so.
Great question.
Is it just foolhardy to fight the storm? Or to just go into it and roll with it, I don't use them now, I used to use them for our management listings, but I haven't in a while.
I think it's a very good question. You'll probably hear many different opinions. My personal opinion for how I operate my business is I go where the business is. If consumers are using Zillow, I'm also going to use Zillow. That's not my main tactic. I love the KW app. I use the KW website, for databases. I really like Sync, I also like Command, but for like a big team, Command is not there for the humongous team, but it's there for a single agent. It's there for, your average size team. but for like 30, 40 plus agent team, it's just not there yet, or for an expansion team at that level, it's not quite there yet. But they're getting there and they're gonna get there. Sync for CRM if you're on like a large size team, or if you want the best leads right now, it's gonna cost you. Whereas Command, you can get great leads and it's free or low cost. So you just have to really weigh what's important to you. Is the money important to you, or are the best leads important to you right now? That's the honest answer.
Yeah, I've never used command leads.
Command leads, it's there and it actually works.
Okay, I need
Yeah.
to get to it then.
It actually works. Yeah, I'll have Elijah reach out to you. And for those of you here, we can have Drew meet with you. Well, it's just like using Command to run advertisements on social media platforms or on like your website. And it all just depends on what budget you're willing to spend. So it's pay as you however much you're able to. If you only have $1 to spend each day, or you have, $500 to spend, they really have some really great algorithms to make the best utilization of the money you have to spend. Whereas something like Sync, in those other lead sources that I gave you, they charge a set amount and it's high dollar, and whether or not you utilize it,
I
right?
did Opsy for a while, and I 2 years, I got.
Well, that's the problem. Now, if you went to Command, the beauty of Command is it's run by agents, made by agents. We know what works, we know what doesn't work. KW can change those algorithms like that, to make sure that they're optimized, whereas some of these bigger companies, they're just more so concerned about seeing that revenue come in. So there's pluses and minuses to both. I like to take the hybrid approach both on my database, so Sphere of Influence and Expires and FSBOs, and also tools, right? I leverage all of the KW tools because they're free. I don't have to pay extra for them, and they're great quality tools. But then I also will enhance that system with certain outside resources that I will pay for.
Yeah, if you're talking about facilities that, you got a lead that comes in and they're asking you, well, so I see this house at Zillow, that's kind of what you're asking. For that.
Sure, I know that you can sign up as a Zillow.
Premier agent.
Premier agent, and is that worthwhile? I don't know.
I can tell you some agents would say absolutely, and some agents would say heck no. And the ones that say heck no are generally the ones that didn't, proactively follow up or have some sort of system. The agents who are succeeding with any of the online tools, whether it's Zillow or Sync or any others, they're succeeding because they have a system.
Yeah,
And they're following up.
System involved and have enough leverage in there to monitor if they're smaller, or similar agent on a small team, you don't have to do that, you don't have the resources to do that. So I'd say, you begin a really good conversation with them and pick them, and then try to send them, some listings or listing alerts through your own website and just
Right.
go back that way. 'Cause the more you can get them off of that.
Right.
Every time they do go on sale, there's 3 other agents that are also in contact.
Mm-hmm.
And the more
That's
you can
exactly it.
look at your website, take some time, and sometimes it's not over, but it's just up to you.
That's why I love the KW app. Like as soon as so for instance, if I was working with a Zillow lead, I would contact them right away on their platform and then say, hey, here's a tool that, other buyers that you're competing with don't have. And then I'll send them my personalized app. They go to it and now they're on the app.
And one other thing, there's so after you've done that once or twice, then just say, you send them one, a couple days later, say, here, I was thinking about you, I think, I know you're curious about that. Here's a property, I think, like, what do you think of this? Set up your website, the more you do that, the more they can just look on that.
I need to dig in with you or Elijah on sending the KW app and working with the app and setting up zones and neighborhoods.
Mhm.
I think it's use it a handful of times. I don't really know how to do it, so.
Yeah, I really like to use Command for the smart plans. I like the neighborhood updates. I think that's like one of the coolest features. Basically, you can set someone up to receive like updated alerts just through your app, your branded information about their neighborhood or about like their city, whatever it is.
And
Yeah, I don't know.
then it tracks it, so like if you can do bi-weekly or monthly. So if you do bi-weekly, then if you go look at their contact, you can see, oh, they clicked
When
on
they've
it,
seen
they
it.
went in it, they looked at this house, they looked at that house. And then the next day you can call them and be like, hey, how's it going? And they're like, I was just thinking about your living, weird.
Weird.
So,
Weird, I'm not talking to Adam.
okay.
Yeah,
So
so,
send someone the app.
yeah, I like the app, and then I also like to send them, I like to set them up on the smart plan for the local neighborhood updates. Yeah.
How do you?
Yeah.
Send them a link?
So you can send them a text, so if you open up your app, you can click the share button, and it'll give you the option to text it to people.
Okay.
I like the text feature, just because they're downloading the app on their phone anyway, so it's probably the easiest way for them to do it. But on your marketing, you can
Yeah.
also, QR codes, obviously, you've seen those become increasingly
Yeah.
more popular, and it's just a convenience factor. You can, again, it's an app on your phone, so you take out your camera on your phone, you scan the QR code, and now it brings it up on my phone. I
So we can generate QR codes from command.
can't, although you do have one, you have your online business card through command.
Yeah, you have your own.
So-
I didn't know that either.
And have them scan it.
This is one thing that I do. So when I am traveling, I can long press this and I can switch it right over to my KW screen. So anytime I wake my phone,
Yeah.
now I have my command, your digital business card right here. So if you scan this, you can actually see, it'll take you to my digital business card. So that instead of carrying business cards around when I'm at events, that kind of thing, I just have this.
Where the hell do you find that? That's in the app.
So, yeah, the digital business card is in the app, but with the iPhone, you can long press the home
My
screen.
business card. Would you know?
Your full screen like on your phone.
Sorry. You can long press the home screen,
It's the.
Oh,
it's
this small.
and then you can switch it to different,
Red.
you can have custom,
Oh.
easily switch to different faces. So then I just have one for
Okay, I got
work.
it. I thought you put it in, okay, got it.
Oh, but it is.
Share
in-
like you
Okay.
like,
Yeah,
that's fine.
Okay, so if you open up command, then I'll show you.
So what did you
I have that
do?
Go to the app store,
I'm fine now, I just.
So now I found it. What do
so
you do?
screenshot it,
Oh,
and then you open that
You
up,
want me to
and then, yep, that's exactly right, that's what I
just
did.
do the code?
Yeah, and then what we can do is if you email that to me, I'll create one of these for you.
Oh, wow.
It's probably the same one that you used to log in.
Never had.
The other app. Yeah, no worries. The other app that I really like, you guys, and I don't know, I realize not many agents know about this, which is kind of surprising to me. I bet most people here know about it. This is did you know that our MLS has a mobile app,
Yeah.
but an updated one? I freaking love it. No, it's MLS Touch.
I didn't know
It
that.
is the best for the agent.
Interesting.
You can literally, so what I can do is I can go down here to, let's do hot sheet. And I can I have a setup search on here. So all I have to do is click I could click active homes here, and it will show me all of the active homes in the particular area that I have already saved on here, which is just crazy. Or at a glance, I can say, okay, since July 23rd, 2023, we have 16 actives, 23 pendings, 19 closed, and 14 price decreases. So the beauty of this is when I'm at a listing presentation and I'm having a conversation with the seller that's maybe a high C or particularly challenging, and they feel that they have updated information, on the spot, I can open this up and say, in the last, since July 23rd, there have been 14 price decreases. So doesn't it make so much sense that we list at my price, because ultimately you don't want to be in one of those 14, right?
So where's that at there?
So it's MLS Touch, but it's called, if you just go in your app store and search in MLS Touch.
Brand that. Was it Remind that was that?
Remind, yes, that used to be the one, actually went from Remind to Home Spotter, And then,
Yes.
from Home Spotter now to the MLS Touch, and the MLS Touch app is actually owned now by the MLS. So those other apps were owned by other companies who the MLS was using as leverage. Now they have their own app, and it's a really, really freaking powerful app for agents.
Where did you say that was from?
The place.
If you go, yeah, go to your app store and search MLS Touch.
Oh, I love it.
That's great.
Chris, like, I need you to look at this, I don't know, on that, just, I'm on her and let's touch on my phone, trying to find her where she is.
I don't like, RTR.
Yeah.
It's such like that. It really is just like having, you know, when you guys go to North Star MLS on your phones, or you go to, you know, whatever MLS you use. When you go to it on the computer, this is literally just like that, but on the phone. Which I love.
How do you say that again to be on your home screen?
Oh, so if you screenshot your QR code, and you email it to me,
Just done.
then I'll actually just put it in my template, I'll save it, and I'll send it to you. You can just upload it to your phone.
And what about, one touch?
MLS.
Is it already, it'll be like on your, shades of an app on your home screen.
On your phone, yeah.
Yeah.
If you swipe it, let's see. And it should be. Check out there, MLS.
No, I just did my stuff with my blue stuff like that.
There you go. Oh, and then actually go back. Search. And then actually bond custom. You got it. And then we do add- Now, and you can go for it.
Yeah, okay. Oh, who did that?
I'll come over and help you out.
Oh, you're not, are you saying?
We should. But it's all on guys, right?
Oh, yes, so you found the,
Oh, you're not in an app, you're on like.
yes, so you go to your app store now. We'll type it in at the search at the top. Yeah. No, okay, so you gotta download it still. There we go. Hey, Drake, hey. Oh, thank you. Oh, perfect, okay, so I'm just gonna log you in back. Okay, perfect.
So if I.
You log out. Okay, there we go. Yeah, we got it.
Like, I don't know.
Yep. Beauty of this is too, you do one. Yeah. I'd like to, just because what happens is this, Mo, when someone downloads your app. It'll notify you that, hey, someone downloaded your app, or if someone messages you through your app, hey, you have a message.
Okay, so I'll go back and change it.
The other thing that's really cool about this is, when you're out and about, and let's say you meet someone at one of your awesome events, all you gotta do is open this up, put that little plus button there, and add them as a contact there. The other thing that's cool is this can automatically import all of the contacts in your phone into command form.
It will.
Yeah, you just click a button,
Take a picture of your contact.
it doesn't have a photo, but if you want to add them in your phone, you can always go back through the app and it'll automatically add, it says.
Thank you. This is good. And mark it lead, so it will give you, so if you will add this into the man, you mark that lead and all that stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, at least know if you're
Yes,
since I'm changing.
yep.
Thank you guys.
All right, everyone, well, that concludes our, class today. Do you have any ahas that you liked from today, or anything that stood out to you?
Reality.
Yes.
Reality.
Work.
Right. Well, thank you all for coming and, spending, these last 90 minutes with me. It has been a pleasure. you have any questions after today's class, feel free to contact me directly, like I do myself, and my email address. Otherwise, if you don't save this today, you'll know how to find me. I'm here, I'm in Rochester.
Yeah, Bill, thanks. I think it's really important to just know your numbers and you just get a basics of it. So
Absolutely.
you look at it every day and see where you're at and see what you can do to adjust.
Right. And I hope that when you guys have time to look through that, the treasure trove of leads that I gave you guys, that you'll be able to find, you know, those extra deals that you're looking for. And if not, you can, contact me and I'd be happy to sit down with you one-on-one to help you come up with a personalized plan.
Yeah. I see that Elevate is not on here.
Elevate. Haven't heard of
I
that.
actually learned about Elevate at one of the Rochester.
I wonder if
like
it's,
a year.
I wonder if it's local, I'll have to look into that.
It's, well, it's a CRM website, lead gen, everything.
Oh, cool.
And I did it for like a year.
Did you like it?
Well, at the time, I was like, I'm not getting what I'm paying for, and I found out that they were not advertising for me.
Oh,
So they kind of, he said, well, we'll redo it, but now that I haven't done it, I'm like, man, I'm not getting lead gen like I was getting before, so I need to do something to get, you know, some of those peripherals that I don't have to focus on. They actually come to me.
yeah.
Not that-
Yeah, there's a lot of those in there, a lot of the, online resources.
I don't know, I tried another one, and I can't, so I'm not.
Yeah, these I would say are the most popular or like the most widely used. So give them a try and let me know how they go.
Yeah, and that's, I'm glad you did this, because I literally,
Like you got one side,
different things, I'm like,
one side.
Homestead Pro, I know I'm on Homestead Pro.
Yeah, that's a good one, be on Homestead. Thank you for joining us, everyone. If you want any of the materials, reach out to me.
Then I'm gonna show you this video before I go.
Okay, that's.
This is how
This was here.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool. Oh my god. That is so funny. She is so cool. Viewer, seriously, she is cut from that tree.
They turn this guy.
Anytime. I wasn't sure how to. I tried.
I wonder if it's just a matter of sign in, sign out, Zoom meeting, recording.
Oh, yeah. If you
Is it?
put the X up there, I think that should work. I didn't even know.
Sign in, or is it sign out?
Just the text or the X.
What has the convenience? Oh, God. No.
Oh, yeah, I had, yes. Here you go, Paula.
Hey, this is
There you
hilarious
go.
recording.
I know, goodness, I thought, oh, maybe it's this here.
Recording. Thankfully, it's Drew and he can just not worry about any of it. Oh, obvious. He's-